We rise this evening, gentlemen. I'm going to ask the board to take a moment of silence for two reasons. The town of North Reading last Wednesday lost a 39-year veteran call firefighter, Paul Hardeman. Our condolences go out to Paul and his family. And then this past Friday morning, as everyone is aware, evil descended upon Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. 26 and 7-year-old children, in the innocence of their life, were taken down by evil. At a time when they should have been opening Hanukkah gifts or filled with excitement, nervous excitement, getting ready for Santa Claus to visit 1 week from tonight, they were taken from this earth. 6 administrators and teachers courageously, with such bravery, threw themselves in the line of many bullets to try to protect as many children as they possibly can. So I ask everyone here, take a moment, reflect upon that, pass along our sympathies and our condolences to the Sandy Hook Elementary School community in Newtown, Connecticut. Thank you. God bless. Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to everyone who's viewing us at home this evening. Go to item 3 on our agenda, the minutes for November 19, 2012, regular and executive session. Mr.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the November 19th, 2012 regular session minutes as written.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second.
I just have a couple comments on it. Is that all right?
Yeah, I was going to open up for discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Item 5, paragraph that starts, Mr. Walter O'Rourke of 4 Bluff Ave. It says, was spoken to by Great American Tavern. I spoke to Mr. O'Rourke and reported back that he was okay with everything that day. And then just on 6 Pine Forest, this is just it says Mr. Fode has recuses himself, just either has recused or recused. Same thing with item 7, where Mr. O'Leary recused himself also. That's it.
Any further discussion?
No, I was just going to make a comment about the numbering. It's just all over the place, so I wasn't sure why.
The order, remember we changed the order.
We switched things around there.
Yeah.
Oh, is that why?
We
So
jumped. I was just making
1 to
sure she was
5.
on her toes. And
Okay. Got it.
so,
So I'll
Now I understand it.
with
motion as amended?
as amended, please.
Second?
Motion as amended. We have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. 4-0-1. Absent. And we have the executive session minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the November 19th, 2012 executive session minutes as written.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Well, it's the same
Again.
thing as,
Sorry. Again, just on
The S
page
should
1,
be
the
a D.
Petrosino. Mr. Fode recused himself.
What's the amendment? I'm sorry.
it's,
The word recused.
Oh, okay.
should be recused instead of recused.
Okay. All right, with that amendment? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0-1 absent. December 3rd, 2012 regular session. Mr. Fode.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the December 3rd, 2012 regular session minutes as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No, sir.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0, one absent. And, seeing no one, but I'll still ask. Anyone here for public comment? Nope. Moving right along to Mr. Fode's favorite time on the agenda. Item 5, license renewals and approvals.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the following common victular licenses to expire December 31st, 2013, subject to all regulatory department requirements. Beyond Bagels, China Cuisine, Inc., Dunkin' Donuts, Holy Donut, Gatherings, Inc., DBA The Center Cafe, Great American Tavern, Horseshoe Cafe, Inc., Joe Fish Seafood Restaurant, Kitty's Restaurant and Lounge, Mario's Pizza and Subs, North Reading Christopher Club, Sports, Spirits and Steaks, The Hornet's Nest, Wendy's.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? It appears as though all the fees have been, Mr. Valiakonis.
Just to report, 2 of the licenses, we did send out renewal information. We did not hear back. I would ask that as part of your approval, just keep in mind that we will hold those licenses until the proper paperwork is submitted. The licenses that we have not heard back, and we did send out certified letters, was the Hornet's Nest and S&M Subway of North Reading. So those are the 2 common victual licenses we did not get a response from.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Prisco.
So you want us to approve them, sign them, but you're going to hold them?
Correct, because the approval is subject to all meeting of all regulatory requirements. Obviously, one of the regulatory requirements is that they physically apply for the license renewal and pay the fee.
How many times have you been in touch with, how many times have
What
our
we
staff tried
typically
to
do is
reach out to them?
we begin the process back in October, November, where we send out a letter, regular mail.
Yeah.
We then try to contact them by telephone. The last step that we take is we actually send out a certified letter with return receipt, and that step was accomplished on all of our licensees who don't return paperwork. In this instance, one of the licensees, the certified letter to the Hornet's Nest was not picked up. The S&M Subway of North Reading, in fact, was signed for on November 28th.
You're great. This is exactly what we did. We went through last year. Same situation. We had several of them.
Right.
And your staff had to go the extra mile, put the extra time in. I'm not in favor of approving those. I say we pull them out and let them come back. And if their license expires, then the license expires because they didn't get their paperwork in. But I don't want to approve a license if they're not going to make the time and the effort to do it. I'm not in favor of it. We went through the same thing last year. And if I remember correctly, I won't mention the name, but I think one of them is the same person we had the same problem with.
Who are the two, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, who are the 2 again?
S&M Subway of North Reading and the Hornet's Nest.
Obviously,
Well, S&M Subway isn't in the first batch.
I'm looking.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Harry.
I understand where you're coming from, Mike. I think, these are businesses, and I agree with you, they should have responded, but I don't want to see them not able to operate come the first of the year, if between now and the first of the year, they come forward with all the documents. Otherwise, either Sean's going to have to call a special meeting, or they're going to have to stay closed, and although you've given waivers before.
We have. Yeah. We have.
Do you have authority to give a waiver for a period of time?
Yeah, and I think in this instance, it's just a matter of getting the attention of these licensees that they won't be able to serve, and that one final threat typically pushes them over the edge coming in to pick up a license.
So then I tend to agree with Mike.
The other reason I bring it up, Bob, is Greg has limited staff, and you could see the tremendous amount of work that goes into getting these pulled together. And to have to go back and forth with the same people over and over, it takes away from getting things done around here. And we've cut staff around here so much, and we're not making it easy on them if we keep enabling these business owners to decide to respond when it's best for them. I'm sorry, that's not how it works, and it's disrespectful to the staff here. And that's why I'm arguing that we do not approve them, and If it does cause them to end up closing their business for a few days, then so be it. I'm a business owner, I own several of them myself, and I would never, I mean, this is a priority.
I don't understand how Hornets Nest didn't even pick up the certified letter. That doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense.
exactly.
S&M Subway, where are they? What are they?
They're not- It's Subway, but they're not on this list that I just read.
Oh, it is Subway, okay.
Yeah, you know where,
It's the
you know
one,
what it
it's
is,
the
right?
one that's
Yeah, I
located right,
didn't- I
it's the
didn't
one
pick
that's
up all
located
this
right
stuff.
here.
Yeah,
Yep, got it.
but it wasn't in the list of ones I read.
I know that there was a change, I think there was a change in ownership there not too long ago, I think.
Mr. Fode, you're saying the motion you read, it's
Didn't
not on
have
there?
them in there.
But it's, okay, but it's in our agenda, okay.
It's in my notes, just I have a listing of any of the licensees that have outstanding issues, and there are others. As we go through the list this evening, I'll alert you to what they are.
What was the second one again?
Hornets
Hornets
Nest.
Nest.
Hornets
Nest.
Nest, are they on the list?
They're on the list.
Yes.
I say we amend the motion and remove them from the list.
He's got to make a motion.
Is it a motion?
That's in motion, yes.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
3-1. Motion carries. One absent.
On the main one.
So now you have to vote the original.
Right. On the main motion.
That excludes the Hornets Nest.
As amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? 4-0, one
Bless
absent.
you.
God
Bless
bless
you.
you.
Perhaps the licensees will be watching on TV and motivated to commit at some point.
I know, my sandwich will be fine from the Hornets Nest.
Yeah, my assumption is that if you hear from them, you'll give them an extension.
And just as an explanation
Till our
for why
next-
I did it, I just, if, they could come in tomorrow and pay it, and now they have to wait till our next meeting.
No, no.
No, I get it.
That's why I voted. That's why I changed my vote, Joe.
We give waivers,
So with the
we've done it
waiver.
before.
Oh, okay.
You'll
Well,
get
no,
a
that's
waiver
fine.
until our next meeting.
Right.
My mistake, I misunderstood.
No problem.
I'll get them next year.
Just don't get your
I'll
sandwich.
get them next year.
I think you got more coming up that you'll follow. soon.
Okay.
There's more.
You'll catch on. You're the new guy.
All set?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the following common victular all alcohol license to expire December 31st, 2013, subject to all regulatory department requirements. China Cuisine, Inc., Ginger Gourmet Restaurant, Great American Tavern, Horseshoe Cafe, Inc., Joe Fish Seafood Restaurant, Kitty's Restaurant and Lounge, Inc., Sports Spirits and Steaks, Thompson Club, Inc.
I have a motion.
Second,
I have a second. Any discussion?
yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
You go. Why would Thompson be on there? And not be Yeba?
I can answer that.
They have a beer and wine license.
Thompson is on there because they are presently the license holder. And ABCC regulations require that the license holder in the middle of a transfer must reapply for their license to keep that transfer valid.
Okay,
So they've actually signed off on it.
thank you for explaining that.
What's the status of Ginger Gourmet?
Ginger Gourmet has received their license from ABCC, so they've received their approval. The board has signed the license. However, they're renovating the facility.
Okay.
So until
Is
the...
there work
fac-
being performed on it?
Yes,
Yeah,
there's
they're doing
work,
the septic right now.
work being
Oh, yeah,
performed.
okay.
And until the work is completed and the building inspector and the fire inspector go out and certify that it's done in conformance, we will hold their license until that date. But there's no reason why you can't go ahead and approve it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Mr. Fode.
Greg, I don't know if you have the answer to this or not, but back to the Thompson Club for a second.
Sure.
That's for the restaurant that they sold. Across the street in their clubhouse, they sell, I believe, don't they sell beer and wine there? Or
They do.
Do they have a separate license for
They
that,
do.
or is this?
There's a seasonal beer and wine license that gets issued to the golf operation that runs from October through December, April through December.
Okay.
And that gets voted by the board every spring separately, and there's a separate renewal process from what we're doing this evening.
Great, thank you.
Any other issues with any of these licensees?
Yeba, LLC, DBA, Teresa's Prime, I think we already talked about. No, that's the only issue.
So the ones on here are all clear.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0, one absent.
You want us to sign any of those?
Well, yeah, sure, I'm trying to get, Greg, quick question on this one here. It says only ABCC form signature, that also gets signed by?
The board, is that Ginger?
Just local licensing authority.
Yes.
Ginger, yeah.
Yes, so the board signs that, that's the renewal form that the licensee needs to fill out, and that gets signed by the board. And it said when the work is completed, then the license will be before you for signature.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the following fraternal club licenses to expire December 31st, 2013, subject to all regulatory department requirements. Loyal Order of Moose, North Reading Christopher Club.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Any issues with this, Mr.
Nope,
Valiakonis?
none at all.
There's nothing further? All in favor?
Aye.
4-0, one absent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the following package store all alcohol license to expire December 31st, 2013, subject to all regulatory department requirements. New England Beverage and Redemption, One Stop Liquors.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Valiakonis?
No issues.
Thank you. Hearing nothing else, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0, one absent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the following Class 1 licenses to expire December 31st, 2013, subject to all regulatory department requirements.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Brian Duchek, DBA National Sales, Dyer Sales and Machinery Company, Premium Power Corporation.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Any issues, Mr. Valiakonis?
I didn't hear in the list of motions, North Reading Auto Sales. They have a Class 1.
Next.
That's the next one coming
Yeah.
up. My apologies.
No problem.
Class 2. That looked like a 1 to me.
All right. Hearing nothing further, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Guess it's 4-0, one absent. Did you say aye?
I did.
I didn't hear you.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the following Class 2 licenses to expire December 31st, 2013, subject to all regulatory department requirements. A&J Motors, Inc., Brian Duchek, DBA National Sales, North Reading Auto Sales, Route 28 Motor Exchange, Inc.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Valiakonis?
North Reading Auto Sales was notified. They were sent a certified letter, which they received and signed for on November 28th, 2012. They have not filled out any of the paperwork nor reapplied for their license.
Then I think we should use the same practice, and we should
Sign
amend
my
the
name to it.
motion to remove them.
Making a motion?
Yes.
Motion is?
To remove North Reading Auto Sales from
Sign my name to it.
the motion.
We have a motion?
Second.
Second. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0, one absent. Back to the main motion. Any further discussion?
As amended.
As a motion.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm going to pull it off
4-0.
so you guys don't sign it. I already signed
Yeah.
it by mistake.
And that was North Reading Auto Sales?
Greg, I signed my name to it, but I'm going to pull it off so no one else does. All right.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the following Class 1 license to expire December 31st, subject to all regulatory department requirements. Brian Duchek, DBA National Sales. He's in the first.
Second, but it's, I think
It's
it's
a
supposed to be
different
Class
class.
3.
Oh, that's a Class 1.
It's supposed to be a Class 3, Joe.
What's
I
that,
think the
Class 2?
motion's written wrong.
This is Class 2.
This should be a Class 3.
Correct. Yeah, we have to amend the motion.
What is that? Is that a
Or you can
Well, it
just
says
read,
Class 1, but it
Yeah,
should
it's
be
supposed to say
Class
Class
3.
three.
Yeah, correct. He has all 3 licenses,
Yeah, this-
1, 2, and 3.
second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Valiakonis, that's
No issues.
fine. No issues? Hearing nothing further, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. One absent.
He's back.
No, no.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the following automatic amusement device license to expire December 31st, 2013, subject to all regulatory department requirements. Kitty's Restaurant Lounge, Loyal Order of Moose, sports, spirits, and steaks.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none. Mr. Valiakonis?
No issues.
No issues. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 4-0, one absent. Do you want to say this?
There's a lot of things I gotta find. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move to remove. Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the following jukebox license to expire December 31st, 2013, subject to all regulatory department requirements. Loyal Order of Moose.
Is that it?
That's it.
I have a
Second.
motion. I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0, one absent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the following common victular wine and malt beverage license to expire December 31st, 2013, subject to all regulatory department requirements. Mario's Pizza and Subs. That's it.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0, one absent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to sign the ABCC 2013 renewal certification.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the following common victular license to expire December 31st, subject to all regulatory department requirements. Ginger Gourmet Restaurant, Yeba Group LLC, DBA Teresa's Prime Grill 19, PBL Catering, Inc., DBA Hillview Country Club.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Valiakonis?
No, the PBL catering is for food service. The liquor license issue transfer has not been completed, and as you probably noted in your packet, was not part of the motion for the board's approval this evening.
Nothing further? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0, one absent.
That's it for license approvals.
Very good job, Mr. Ford.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice job, Joe.
Still got a bunch of,
We still have more?
we have,
No,
we have reappointments.
We're doing well.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing well.
Appointments are easy.
Signing it twice. Oh, well.
Hey, it's better than none.
I'll give him a couple of minutes to get caught. I still got to catch up on those, too. We got time. This could be record-setting.
Joe,
Yes.
this
What
packet
do you
here,
think?
you
Huh?
signed some of them and you didn't.
I know,
sign them.
Sean.
Yeah, he's...
Chairman pulled them from me.
Please. Stuck him in front of my face, I signed.
You're
That's
better
good to
off,
know.
Joe, not signing any, and
Yeah, right. I'll do it at the end.
I mean, when you're ready.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just wanted to note that there were two licenses that were not in your list of motions, that were not read and not approved, but are still hanging because of the fact we have not heard back from the applicants. And those would be two livery licenses. The first is issued to Boston North Limo, and the second one is to North Reading Transportation. Again, neither of which was before you for a vote this evening. I just wanted to make you aware of the fact that at your next meeting, when those applications, if they are received, they'll be back before you for approval.
So what happens, it's an annual license, they haven't submitted anything. Now, we've taken action on 3, right? So what's going to happen with these 2 come their operation January 1st?
Well, I would imagine for a livery license, it creates some challenges if they have to get to the airport and they have to prove that they have a valid license.
Who's going to, unless we take any sort of action, how's anyone going to know?
Registry. Thinking if someone operates a limo service and they need to get to the airport, I don't know if that requires a separate license or not.
Well, I think of these that are delinquent, maybe we should send a letter out.
Oh, we do.
Oh, yeah, I missed it.
Saying that,
Oh, I said I can't read this. Oh, well, okay.
warning them that their license expires at the end of the year and they have to stop operations until they get it renewed.
Cease.
Mr. Fisco?
In like North Reading you said North Reading Transportation was one of them, right?
I did. They have a livery license.
Yeah, and
All right.
I think probably part of our contract with them is they have to have a license too.
Whose contract?
Don't they transport our children?
No.
Well, they don't.
No, this is a limo service. I
Limo.
use it to go to the airport.
Limousine.
They're the ones that garage there where, across from that,
Wright Street, off of Washington Street.
North Reading Transportation? is it?
Is it? Well, wait a second. North Reading Transportation is right up here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, though.
Boston North is the one that's
yeah,
down
right, Boston, North.
on Washington Street.
And North Reading Transportation doesn't do our school buses.
No.
No.
But they do schools.
Yes.
And they also just filed for a building permit as well.
Correct.
So, I mean, I assume we wouldn't want to hand them a building permit if they're not going to need if they don't have a license, right?
But they just like these other businesses where we didn't renew their licenses because they haven't submitted their application.
I mean, I'm not aware of the fact that a bus service needs a livery license. If they wish to transport people privately to some private party or something like that,
Well done.
then that would require a livery license. But I'm not so
But
sure.
they've had one for a number of years.
They have.
right?
Which,
I think they do have smaller, they don't have just school buses, I think they have smaller vehicles.
No doubt.
They do transports.
I happen to see the vehicles on the highway quite often.
How are we doing?
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair. I'll move
Okay.
on.
You got a point?
I'm ready.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm almost caught up.
Don't want to rush you.
Nope, I'm good. I can get those later. Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following names for appointment, reappointment to the Hillview Commission to fill, Commission to fill 2 terms through
No, there's
December
only 2
31st,
open.
2015.
Yeah.
I got 14 names here. There's only 2 openings.
Yeah, you read them all off, and
Oh,
then
okay.
there'll be a roll call vote.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
You weren't trained by the prior? That's just,
No,
just left you hanging there?
George Stack, 11 Swan Pond Road, incumbent. Michael Junta, 33 Tower Hill Road, incumbent. Francis J. Hashi, 7 Wyoming Ave. Mark Crisos, 4 Mentos Farm Lane. Christopher J. Cummings, 5 Eisenhower Lane. James M. Kieran, 18 Turner Drive. Lauren E. McMullen, 4 Baldwin Lane. Joseph P. Gill, 30 Turner Drive. Joseph G. Giganti, 7 Willard Road. Timothy J. Allen, 6 Carbox Lane. Daniel J. Doherty, 6 Susan Drive. Paul D. Dorsey, 18 Magnolia Road. Paul Ashman, 4 Winterberry Lane. Brian E. Blackwood, 8 Euclid Park West.
Second.
motion and a second. Mr. Valiakonis, the compilation of this list looks like it has, well, it does have number 3, Francis Hatchie. Mr. Hatchie, my recollection is a current member whose term is not yet up for possible reappointment.
Right.
We agree.
Okay.
As he was reading the list, I was scratching the name off.
Yeah, so we want to amend this list to remove his name.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I move to amend the motion by removing Francis J. Hashi, 7 Wyoming Ave, from the motion.
Second.
Has it? Okay. Any further discussion on the amendment? No. All in favor?
Aye.
On the original motion as amended, any further discussion? Mr.
No, I just
Briscoe?
like, my recommendation to the board is that we continue with the two incumbents that are in position 1 and 2, Mr. Stack and Mr. Junta. Long-term standing, good members to the Hillview. More than ever, with a lot of change in the future for the Hillview, these long-standing members with the history and the knowledge, especially Mr. Junta with his legal background and financial background. Mr. Stack is the current, and I assume is going to be continued the future chairman of the Hillview, and does a fantastic job keeping things in line. So my recommendation to the board is that we reappoint Mr. Stack and Mr. Junta.
Anything further? All right, roll call vote. Mr. Prisco.
Stack and Junta.
Mr. Misery.
George Stack and Michael Gunter.
Mr. Fode.
George Stack and Michael Junta.
The chair votes George Stack, Michael Junta. It's 4-0, 1 absent for Mr. Stack and Mr. Junta.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following name for reappointment as member of the Historic District Commission for a term to expire on December 31st, 2015. There are currently 4 openings. Will Burkmeyer, 85 Park Street. He's the incumbent.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I saw Bill a few days ago at Town Hall. He was trying to get his paperwork in, and he clearly interested in continuing.
And I had spoken with Mr. O'Leary this afternoon, who's making his way back to North Reading from up in Maine, bringing his son back for Christmas holiday. And he highly recommends that Mr. Burkmeyer be reappointed on the Historic District Commission. Mr. Prisco?
Isn't there more than one opening right now?
4.
There's 4 openings,
Oh, there's
there's
4.
only one.
There's only-
Right.
Oh, okay,
There's-
so
there's-
we need some more
Sure, if anyone
volunteers.
watching at home is interested in joining the Historic District Commission, we'll be looking for at least 3 new members.
Okay.
There's 4 openings, so.
Thank you.
Anything further?
No.
It's one name, one appointment, so we can take it as just a typical vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0, 1 absent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to reappoint Barbara Stats as the State Ethics Commission Liaison for a term to expire on December 31st, 2013.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Just seems to me that Ms. Stats, who's been in this position, is the right person for the particular job, given the fact that she's our town clerk. So I would recommend Ms. Stats be reappointed to the State Ethics Liaison position. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0, that was an aye? Did I hear it?
Aye.
4-0, 1 absent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to reappoint Mary Ann McKay as Town Treasurer for a term to expire on December 31st, 2013.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? I'd just like to say that I think Ms. McKay has done just a tremendous job for this community. She's been our town treasurer, so I would move to reappoint her as the town treasurer.
Absolutely. She's done a fantastic job.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0, 1 absent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to designate the Essex County Fire Chiefs Association as municipal hearing officer pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 148A, for the period January 1, 2013 to December 31st, 2013.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? I just, based upon what the town administrator had explained to us a week ago, previous to this request to appoint the Essex County Fire Chiefs, The hearing officer was the town administrator, but as he explained to us last week, it makes more sense that the Fire Chiefs Association are the hearings officers, given the nature of what they're designated to do. So I would move to appoint Essex County Fire Chiefs as the municipal hearings officer.
That's it.
All in favor?
Aye.
4-0, 1 absent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following names for reappointment as process-serving constables for terms to expire on December 31st, 2012. There are 5 openings. Paul Dorsey, 18 Magnolia Road, incumbent. John
Ferriello.
1 Sullivan Road, incumbent. Douglas F. Lab, 130 Chestnut Street, incumbent.
I have a motion.
Second.
Do I have a second? I have a second. Any further discussion?
No, all 3 are very good people, and, Doug's still new and he's still learning, but John does most of the heavy lifting, but I support all 3.
All in favor? Roll call?
I think
No,
we
it's
should take
5
it.
openings.
Well, that doesn't.
Yeah, we could take it
necessarily-
all, we could take it as motion's been written.
I would do it
Right.
as a roll call because
Yeah.
you could
Yeah,
not
just-
vote for it.
Right.
That's true.
As a roll call, Mr. Prisco,
Mr. Dorsey, Mr. Ferriello, Mr. Lab.
Mr. Messeri.
Paul Dorsey, John Fiorello, and Douglas F. Lab.
Mr. Foti.
Dorsey, Ferriello, Lab.
And the chair votes Paul Dorsey, John Ferriello, and Douglas F. Lab. 4-0, 1 absent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following names for reappointment as detailed constables for terms to expire on December 31st, 2012. There are 2 openings. Carl Berg, incumbent. Jerry Berg, incumbent.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we hear any discussion?
I am going to support Jerry Berg, but I am not in favor of supporting Carl Berg. I just feel that, I think that we've learned a little bit about Mr. Berg last year, and from what I learned, I just don't think he's the right person to be in this position. So I will not be supporting him.
I had spoken with Mr. O'Leary this afternoon. As I previously stated, Mr. O'Leary wanted me to convey to the board that, similar to Mr. Prisco, that he would be in favor of Jerry Berg. If he were here, he would not be in favor of Carl Berg. Any further discussion?
I don't know the issue, so I don't.
Any further? Nothing further? Roll call vote. Mr. Prisco.
Jerry Berg.
Mr. Messeri.
Jerry Berg.
Mr. Foti.
Jerry Berg.
And the chair votes Jerry Berg. That's 4-0, 1 absent, in favor of Jerry Berg only.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following name for reappointment as representative to the Metropolitan Area Planning Council for the period of January 1, 2013 through December 31st, 2015. Greg Valuconis.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Valiakonis, you want to support your appointment or reappointment?
I'm the one. Perhaps at some point when we have a new planner on board,
Oh, that would be nice.
she or he will be the one.
Well, you've mentioned that. Has there been any further update?
Yeah, those are.
My understanding is they have an individual who's accepted the position, but I can't state the date
Okay.
because I don't know the date.
I know on Friday there was some discussion about whether or not that was accurate information. I don't know if you had heard anything since Friday.
Nothing further. I did ask the Human Resources Department to update me, and she was out today.
Thank you. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0, 1 absent.
We have library appointments, they were in
Yep.
the supplement.
Oh, supplement.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following name for appointment as, no, that's actually a
Oh, yeah,
mistake.
rent control,
There's
too.
a change now.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fode, which one are we doing?
I'm doing the library, but there was a change, there was handwritten change in it, so I'm going to fix it and read it out. Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following name for appointment as a member of the Library Trustees for a term to expire on December 31st, 2015. There's one opening. Mary Ann Lappy, 3 Niblick Way, full membership, and Danielle Masterson, no address here, associate member.
I think that actually should have been
Two
Two
motions.
different motions. Yeah.
I don't know if we could have combined that, given the fact that one's for a full membership, the other one's for an associate.
So originally it was,
Yeah, yeah.
originally it was just one associate member, and they,
Yeah, I know you didn't do that, I know that.
no, I'm not pointing the finger
In
at
the
anybody.
supplement, there are two motions, so it,
Yeah, but they actually read the same.
All right.
The same
Can I
lady's name.
withdraw my motion and start from scratch?
Okay.
I would.
Or we can just amend the motion to remove the associate
just-
oh, you're
member,
right.
and then let the motion stand as amended.
Let's just withdraw the motion,
Yes.
let him read it as it
Good.
was previously drafted.
Okay.
And then we can get on to the associate member.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move to place a nomination the following name for appointment as member of the Library Trustees for a term to expire on December 31st, 2015. There's one opening. Mary Ann Lappy, 3 Niblick Way. She's a former associate member.
Second,
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
yes, just to confirm, it's 2013,
Can you just hold a minute? I want to go back to,
right? I heard you say
It says
15.
2015.
No, I think they have rolling,
Okay,
their appointments are rolling, they're not one-year memberships.
okay.
So I think they're on 3-year terms, so there's probably one or two that come up every year.
So I'm looking at the wrong motion. I got it. I see it. Sorry. I have
You're
two-
looking at the motion?
Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong motion. That's why I wanted to get
At least
clarification.
yeah.
At least I think that's the way it is, but
Yeah.
I am also now confused, Mr. Prisco, as a result of what's in our supplemental packet.
So let me clarify. Mary Ann Lappy was an associate member last year.
Correct.
She's being moved up, replacing,
So is she filling an unexpired term?
no, someone term was
Okay.
opted, no, I don't remember the name of the person right now. She's filling an existing,
Okay.
a new position that's the result of
Someone
someone that
going
was
off.
on it not wanting to continue.
Okay.
But it's not a midterm
Okay.
transfer. or
All
anything.
right.
And then Danielle Masterson
Danielle.
is stepping up to be an
An associate.
associate. So if we could read those motions that way, we should be okay.
And Bob, the date of 2015 is correct for Mary Ann?
It's a 3-year.
Yeah,
Perfect, okay.
Yeah.
that's, but then I looked, I know your confusion was too, Mr. Prisco, so I looked in the motion in the back.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
confirm.
it's a full term she's filling in.
Good.
It's not a,
Makes
it's not a
sense.
mid-year
It makes sense.
vacancy.
So I guess we can vote on this motion, and then we can read the next motion?
We could, we can't. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0, 1 absent.
I was just going to read it. Okay.
You can do it that way, but it's
That's
her.
correct.
I don't know if you have an address.
And there's no address.
Yes,
I think it's something Park Street.
I looked in the street list, I couldn't find it.
this one here.
I know they just purchased a house
I
on
know.
Park Street. Just put it Park Street.
Just Park Street. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move to place a nomination of the following name for appointment as an associate member of the Library Trustees for a term to expire on December 31st, 2015. Danielle Masterson of Park Street.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
4-0, 1 absent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following name for reappointment as member of the Mobile Mobile Home Rental Control Board for a term to expire on December 31st, 2015. There's one opening. Daniel Solomon, 72 Marblehead Street, he's the incumbent.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
Now we're done.
That's it.
Thank you. Nice job. We voted for these two, just those two.
Pine Forest Settlement Agreement? Pine Forest Park Settlement Agreement.
Mr. Chairman, I recuse myself.
As you have consistently, Mr.
Consistently
Fode,
in the past. Thank you very much.
recusing himself when it comes to the issue of the Pine Forest Park Settlement Agreement?
That's an open meeting, he doesn't have to necessarily leave his seat.
Yeah, you don't have to leave.
Just don't vote.
Yeah, you just can't vote. You can sit out there.
Mr. Exelbob, how many times you explain?
The agreement's been approved, so we're just voting.
Actually, we haven't approved the agreement.
Okay.
No, and I have a motion here to, it's okay, I have the motion to read. But what I would ask, is there's been a little bit of update since the last time we met. I've been in touch with DOT. I followed up with them last week. DOT and Mr. Petrosino's engineers and staff has been working together to get they at least have it on paper, a preliminary approval to put in a temporary construction vehicle access only road. So no longer will he be able to use, the plan has been originally if the Pine Forest Park was approved, they would have to use Burroughs Road, Flash Road to enter and exit with these large vehicles, which this board had a major issue with. So as you remember, the last time we talked about this, last meeting, I met with DOT, they agreed. We came up with a potential location where they could enter off of Route 25. That has now been discussed in more detail, and Mr. Petrosino's now been left with the action to provide the formal paperwork to be granted a permit. Speaking with DOT on Friday, they said that what they sent Mr. Petrosino home for homework, he should be able to turn that around relatively quickly. It wasn't very technical what he had left to do, and that they should be able to turn around an approval for this temporary construction access road relatively soon. So my suggestion to the board is let's hold off on the agreement. I say we don't sign it until our next meeting, and I think by then, if we're meeting sometime in the middle of January, Mr. Petrosino should have his permit signed, and at that point, if you read this agreement, a lot of the issues that we have really go away from the North Reading side. And I think that's a big success, and I know the residents in the Martins Pond area, no matter what we do, are not going to be happy, but I hope they understand this is a small victory. To be able to get DOT to change their mind to allow this temporary access road is a big, big plus for this town. It does take away the burden that these big, large vehicles would have put on our roads, and I think we should be pretty happy that we're at this point in the process.
What I want to add, and I know there's been a lot of back and forth and a series of emails today with some of the residents up in Martins Pond, I want to try again to help you understand that Mr. Petrosino's land is in Andover. Andover approved his development of that land. North Reading didn't have a say in that particular aspect of him developing that land. The only issue for North Reading to consider was, were we going to provide him municipal water or not? And if we chose not to provide Mr. Petrosino municipal water, he would have still been able to develop his land. He would have had to do it by using wells, putting in cisterns, and would have had litigation against the town for refusing to provide him municipal water. So North Reading could not do anything to block the development of Mr. Petrosino's land, which, once again, is in Andover. So I applaud the efforts of the administration, Selectman Prisco, in their discussions with DOT to open it up, to have this access road, these construction vehicles that will come in off of 125 and not through the residential area up and around Martin's Pond. So once again, if there's a way, we would have considered it to block the development. We can't. The only issue was, were we or were we not going to provide Mr. Petrosino with municipal water? That was the only issue for this board to consider. Mr. Prisco.
I just want to add one more thing. I have also been in contact with the planner over in Andover. By us not signing this agreement, is it going to hold up anything?
Will not?
It will not at this point, because she still hasn't scheduled any pre-construction meetings or anything yet. So she'd like to see the permit get completed as well for that temporary access road. And then once that's done and we sign this document, then she will go ahead and move forward. So she is actually, on my request, she's going to hold off, and she's not going to schedule anything until we see the results of getting this permit getting signed off. Mr. Malcolm, if you
The only thing I have to report is similar to what you've indicated on the status of the agreement with Mass DOT. And I received communication from our council today, and what it says is the following. I'll read it. It's quite brief. It says, I received the following from plaintiff's counsel, and it says, I spoke to Angelo yesterday, and he tells me that the Mass DOT inquired after our initial letter requesting access to the project went through to provide a sketch. That sketch was done and scanned and sent to the Mass DOT on December 11th, 2012 by our project engineer, Luke Roy, and provided a copy to you in the town. I believe that a formal letter request plus the additional sketch are now both before the Mass DOT, formally awaiting their action. They have not asked us for anything additional. If they do, we will follow through. So that's the response that we've got from them, which I think is indicative of the fact that when they hear back from Mass DOT, they'll need to follow up on actions. But as of this date, Mass DOT is not approved.
Correct. So, Greg, do you believe that that's referring to the document that we received in an advance copy, I think, last
Yes.
week?
Yes,
So they believe that that's the submittal,
yes,
the formal submittal?
yes.
Because my discussions with DOT, that was just for the preliminary discussion, just to have, engineer to engineer discussion about the location, access location off of Route 25, and they're all in agreement. But what needs to be provided from Mr. Petrosino, which I believe was explained to me from DOT, was given to Mr. Petrosino as homework to get completed, to get back for a formal permit request.
I inquired of our counsel to speak with plaintiff's counsel, and again, plaintiff's counsel informs you that Mass DOT considers the email that I forwarded to you as sufficient to constitute a formal application, and Mass DOT is reviewing the request. So this is
Okay.
via our attorney conveying the substance of a conversation.
I'll follow up with
plaintiff's counsel.
DOT tomorrow then, just to
Yeah.
confirm, to make sure I have it correct.
But it's up to
It's up to
Mr.
Petrosino,
Petrosino to
right.
get the permit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, he has to just, I believe he has to file the engineering, he has to file some engineering documents for the type of material he's gonna put as an access for the road off of 125, type of material.
Let him
and-
deal with DOT.
Yep.
I think we're out of that aspect of it.
Okay.
Let it move on.
Yeah, but the sense I got from that was they feel that that Mr. Petrosino's done all that he needs to do.
That's what it says to me. I mean, without reading, in two separate occasions that they've responded, and they consider that the information that they forwarded to Mass DOT on December 11th
Mhm.
is sufficient to constitute a formal application.
So basically, our position at this point is we'll sign off on the agreement once we see a written
The
permit.
permit, the
Once we see
permit
the
submitted for the
permit.
temporary access road. Right. That's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
su-
proposing to the board.
I suppose that they may deny it, and then we're back to the original agreement.
Then we're back
anyhow,
to the
but-
original agreement,
But
right.
until we either see a permit or a denial from DOT,
Correct.
I wouldn't sign off on the agreement.
Only because by getting that temporary access road, I think does alleviate a lot of issues.
I don't disagree.
A lot of
but-
concerns that we've all
But I just
had.
want, Mr. Petrosino's probably watching, his counsel may be watching or inquiring. We have an agreement in place. The agreement's going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a question of if we can get this other piece where he gets the access road.
Mm-hmm.
So, and unless and until there's a denial or an approval for that access road, we're taking no action in signing this agreement. But we're not
Correct.
saying we're not going to sign the agreement at some point.
I agree with you 100%.
Okay. Just want to be clear.
Yep.
I don't want it to be interpreted.
No,
Yes, we're
Different
not-
way.
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying that, because I agree with you.
pass over item 7?
Yes.
Town Administrator's Report.
Hello,
Hello.
welcome back.
8 o'clock, we're already at the town administrator's report.
That's because Steve's not here, right?
They,
What you gonna
they
say?
seem to go quickly. I just don't. It's
I didn't say it this time.
We've had some pretty full
I didn't
agendas
say it.
recently.
No, we
We
have.
sure
We
have.
I know his mom's watching, so no offense. We're just all in fun.
I said it in jest.
Yeah.
I actually have a couple of updates beyond my report. When I went back and I looked at the report, there were a few other things, so bear with me. There's just a few updates I'd like to give at the end of the year. I've provided the board with a copy of the budget calendar for next fiscal year. It's the year beginning on July 1 of 2013, otherwise known as fiscal year 2014. You know that. Others may not be familiar with it. The key dates that are associated in here are the budget kickoff meeting, which takes place in the first Saturday in March, and that would be March 2nd of 2013. So please check your calendars and indicate if that date is available. If it's not, let me know, and we will find another Saturday to begin our budget kickoff session. The departments have been charged with the responsibility of submitting 2 budgets at this point, and the budget would be a level services budget. Level services is the same staffing, building in contractual and other increases to provide the same level of services that exist at the same time. And that's the typical procedure that we've used for departmental budgets in the past. However, due to the continued poor economic conditions and what we see as a stagnation in our revenues, we're also asking our departments to submit a level dollar budget. Level dollar budget is they need to account for any and all cost increases within the dollars that are available in this fiscal year. So that's our starting point. And probably one of the other key dates that the board has is the date for approval of the budget prior to town meeting. I've asked that the board meet 3 times in the month of April. I know that that's typically a busy month, and there's lots that's going on. I put some dates out there on the calendar, just so we can be thinking that we probably need some additional meetings going forward to get everything lined up for town meeting coming up in June of 2000.
Greg, regarding the dates you proposed, that April 16th date, does that happen to be holiday?
Perhaps.
Just
Typically it
thinking
is.
might be
Typically, it's right around that date.
What, the,
Maybe Patriots Day? Maybe a
No.
holiday?
Could be.
Actually, you should be able to, John's got the calendar right there, you could drag that on.
What are you looking to find?
I think we got time to decide it. We don't have to.
There's time.
Yeah, what-
There's time, but I think
what
that, the main purpose is just letting you know that I think we need an extra meeting in April, and we probably need another extra meeting if we look forward to calendars in September.
Patriots Day
Those-
is the 15th.
15th. Okay. Your next meeting is on January 7th. The second meeting is a conflict. It's a conflicted date because of the holiday. So just in terms of scheduling, it would be helpful to know when you want to meet next for the second meeting in January.
The January 7th date, I believe, is a conflict for at least one member. So what I would suggest, given that, is there any issue if we meet the 14th and the 28th? Would it be the 14th? The 14th and the 28th?
Yep.
In the month of January? Given that there's a conflict that, in our second meeting anyhow, would that be any issue that you see, Mr. Valley-Thomas?
I don't see any, typically the one thing that runs us afoul is any hearings that we would have already have advertised, and I'm not aware of the fact that we have any hearings scheduled for that meeting coming up on the 7th of January. It's a ways out still, so I think that works.
I would prefer to do like the Thursday, the 10th, and the 21st. Otherwise, we're doing a meeting on the 28th, and then February is a short month. And February, what works for me, I guess it doesn't matter. Actually, the 11th and the 25th is better because I'm going to be away in between there.
So you're saying you agree, it works
Yeah.
okay going the 14th
I'll
and
go back
the
to
28th?
January, I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, the 14th and the 28th work for me as well.
Okay.
Me also.
I'm just taking a peek at February for myself while we're talking calendar. We have some time. Okay. I may have a problem the second meeting date in February.
Uh-huh. Because it conflicts with President's Day.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Conflicts with, yeah, that's school vacation week. The intent, depending upon how well my travel agent, or should I say my wife does in terms of scheduling something. And Bob, you're not available on the 25th?
No, February, I can make a meeting on the 11th and the 25th.
Oh, okay, all right,
That's what I was looking at.
okay. All right, so this will line up all right if we do 14 and 28 and then the 11th and 25th?
Beautiful.
Okay. Subject to
Steve.
discuss with Mr. O'Leary. All right.
Great guy. So if I ask him a question on the supplement. As we get ready to start discussing the budget stuff here relatively soon, any chance we can get a budget to actual year-to-date in January? You know,
Sure.
now those first 6 months are behind us.
Sure.
For every department. It would be helpful for me to see where we're at financially on each one of them. Nothing detailed, I mean, just if you have,
You're talking on the expense side, that's what
Yep.
you're looking.
You're
Yep.
talking expenses, not revenue.
not revenue.
You don't wanna look at
because
that.
I don't want to see the revenue, just want to see the expenses. And I'm not asking you to create anything new or special. It should, I assume you already,
Well, no.
No problem at all.
We look at the,
The revenue side.
Revenue
What I sent
side.
you over the weekend,
yeah.
I sent to everyone.
Yeah, and I got that, and that's very understandable.
that's something we need to watch though because of what's going on.
Mhm.
Right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Next is just an update that there's one last patrolman vacancy in the police department that needs to be filled. That will be filled by the open competitive list or the recall list being any police officer who has civil service standing throughout the Commonwealth may be on the recall list. The important thing that's really driving this process is, number one, the chief needs to request an academy slot if the person is not trained. If they're someone who's a transfer or comes from another department, they will not need to attend the academy. However, our experience is typically we would be selecting someone off the open competitive list. The other thing that's driving this whole thing is HRD, which runs the civil service system. It's transitioning from a paper system to an automated system. Frankly, we want to get in before they fully transition to an automated system. It's probably, well, it seems like it's something that's going to be quicker and more efficient. I think that it's probably not going to be. So what we want to do is get our paperwork in by the end of this month, allow us to get a civil service requisition list that then starts the calendar for candidates to come in and apply, and typically it's probably around 4 weeks from the date that we receive the list until the police department can begin interviewing candidates, and then they come forward with a recommendation for appointment thereafter. Next is just a quick update that I did meet with MAPC. They came in and met with me about the creation of a regional housing office to be shared with the towns of Danvers, Peabody, Saugus, and Reading. A housing office is an office that looks into issues related to affordable housing. So it's not an adjunct or an agency of the Housing Authority. What they really do is address affordable housing in your community and work with town officials to provide the best options for both the town and for residents. And it really is an area that, as our planning department typically focuses on zoning issues and development issues and economic development issues, it's probably an area that we do need to look at. It's being done in one other area of the state, and I think that's in Bedford, Sudbury, and Lexington area. The dollars are small, but it does provide us with a service that we might want to look into. And there's no commitments at this point, it's just something we're merely looking into at this early stage. The last thing that is on my list, but there are a couple of other additional things, is town offices will be closed Monday and Tuesday for the holiday. Monday for Christmas Eve, our employees are entitled to a half a day in the afternoon. They've agreed that they will take their own time in the morning, so we will not be open in the morning, but employees will be using their own time. Tuesday for the Christmas holiday, we are closed and we reopen for business as usual on December 26th, which is Wednesday at 8 a.m.
When you define town hall, does that include
Library,
DPW or?
library, senior center, non-public safety departments. That would include DPW.
So just police and fire will
Correct.
be? Yes.
Correct. Couple
So
of,
The
if-
same
if
will
this-
occur, I'm sorry, Bob.
I'm sorry. If there's a snow emergency on the Monday,
there's never, how's it handled?
what?
It's handled at a straight time. Well,
That's-
let's put it
that's
this,
my question.
let's put it this way. The employees are entitled to an
Half a day.
afternoon off. So if the snow event occurs in the afternoon, they'll be entitled to a holiday pay rate. If it occurs in the morning, they'll be compensated on the basis of straight time.
The same is true for the following Monday, New
No,
Year's Eve day.
not at all.
No? I thought it was both holidays, no?
Just for Christmas.
So town
Contractually,
hall is open?
Contractually, we're required to be open for a full day on New Year's Eve, and we will be open for a full day on New Year's
Oh,
Eve.
okay. All right. I misunderstood. I
No,
thought it was.
not a problem at all.
Thank you. Clarifying that.
A couple of quick things that I just wanted to apprise you of. Some RFPs that are out there right now. There's some big things that are going on. Trash collection is out right now. Our contract expires on June 30th of 2013. It's a 5-year contract that we're seeking proposals on. The value of the contract is approximately $500,000. If you look at what this year's money expected to be on refuse and recycling collection, it's $524,000. So we've opened that up to a competitive process and established the fact that it'll be a 5-year contract, fiscal year 2014 through fiscal year 2018, to be commencing July 1 of 2013. So it is big. There are no decisions that will be coming. The board will be informed and be allowed to participate in that process. But I do want to alert you to the fact that we are opening that up to a competitive process, and with a $500,000 contract, you have to do that.
Question.
Mr. President?
Why 5 years?
Just because of the fact that we're looking to provide for price stability. So it's a proposal process. If the proposals come in and we consider them to be reasonably priced and we can lock in our costs, that's something that we want to look at as an option.
Mr. Fode?
I think, if you don't mind, Greg, I think I
Please.
can help a little with that,
Oh,
too. Typically, you do go, you want to do a 3-year contract because you have one, but I think when you're talking about a company that has to buy equipment, you're going to get a better price when you go out for 5 years because their rate of return is going to be spread out over 5 years as opposed to 3 years. Because if they don't get anything after the 3 years, that equipment may be worthless to them. And
Makes sense.
ultimately, what's going to happen is the town's going to pay for that equipment over the course of either the 3 or the 5 years.
I didn't know we actually could do it for 5 years.
You can. It's not, a 30B establishes a 3-year limit on contracts. It's a 30B exempt contract.
Good.
So there's no statutory provision in terms of the number of years that's involved. The other big contract that's about to be put out is our property valuation services. The Board of Assessors have prepared an RFP, and that's establishing the values as of January 1, 2013. We did have funding for that approved at town meeting. The process will begin once we sign a contract, roughly in the timeframe of March. It needs to be completed by October of 2013. Reason being is the values have to be certified by the DOR, and it has to be part of the tax rate setting process a year from now. So that contract RFP is out there and will be out there And proposals will be due into us in the second week of January. And then the Board of Assessors will evaluate those and come to me with a recommendation. So those are two of the major things that are out there right now that you should be aware of. Some little bit of good news is Chief Warnock in the fire department informed me that he was able to procure a surplus brush pumper truck. And I've got some photographs at no cost. So what we will be doing is replacing a 1976 vehicle with a newer and better vehicle at no cost. The 1976 is through the Division of Fire Services at the state. They take the old vehicle, they give us the new vehicle. So there's no gain in the number of vehicles that we have.
the new one?
Huh?
What year is the new one?
77.
Newer.
So this is a 76, that's a 76 and a half?
No,
It's much more,
is old.
it's much more impressive in color.
They're both very good-looking trucks.
Well, it's much more
For a
impressive.
parade.
It's much more impressive in
It
color.
just says new, it doesn't say what year.
No, that's my handwriting. I didn't know what year it was.
Those are hot off the battlefield.
I thought it was the same
68.
vehicle.
No, this is 68.
I just want to thank
That was,
Chief Warnock. I think it's a good way to do business. And that concludes my report. Thank you. Figure it ends on a high note.
Greg, I saw in our packets we got here this evening, there's a proposed motion for a recycling policy, and just quickly reviewing it. The only issue I have, I don't know how if we were to consider this and adopt it, this doesn't talk about any penalty if someone were not to recycle.
Yeah, this document was supposed to come to the board at its last meeting. Was submitted late, and I purposely asked my staff not to make sure not to put it in your packet until the next meeting, because what I want to do is I wanted to go through it and vet it out in terms of what other additional items we needed to do. And so I apologize, I'm not asking the board to take any action on it.
No, I know, I saw that it was on for the meeting for the 7th, but having reviewed it, I just wanted to bring
Does
that
this
to your
come
attention.
from recommendations from the recycling committee?
It did.
Have they taken a
Yes.
formal vote on
It
it?
did indeed come from them.
Can I see it, Paul?
So that's what,
It's
if
in
you
your,
go
oh,
into,
you didn't have one in your?
No, I didn't get it.
Okay.
you will slide it again.
You got it over there?
I'll borrow this one.
You're
was
welcome
opposed
to
to
have
it.
mine.
So that was the only thing that jumped out at me on the mandatory recycling policy, that seems to be something hanging out there, you know. If they don't, what happens?
I'll find out.
Is that it?
That's it.
Maybe not?
No, that's it. There's a legal action that the town was dragged into involving a condominium trust. We were dragged in along with the bank that provided financing. It's Greenbrier Condominium Trust versus an individual. I just received notice that the complaint against the town has been dismissed.
Were we only dragged in because we had some sort of lien?
Yeah, we were dragged in because we had a lien, and that's the only reason why we were dragged in, but we've been dragged in at least on 2 occasions. This one says that it's just been dismissed. You may very well find out that we're being dragged in again on a 3rd time, but at least this time it's been dismissed. Always nice to see lawsuits against the town dismissed.
Thank you very much. Old and new business? Mr. Fode?
It's not with me, thank you. No, I appreciate it.
I know you do.
Real quick, last week, I had the pleasure, with some other members of the board, of visiting the senior center. The Elder Services put on a question and answer period, and we were there, and I got to say, I was impressed by the questions we got. And I just want to thank Mary Prenny for inviting us. I thought it was great, and she did say she was going to do it more often, which would be great. My condolences to the family of Paul Hardiman. I didn't know him personally, but everything I've heard about him seems that he was a gentleman, and it's a loss for his family, and I'm sorry to hear that. Mr. Chairman, is to reiterate your sentiments on the tragedy in Newtown. I just want to send out our prayers to the family and friends of all the victims. It's a very sad. And it's just, it's unbearable to watch on TV. I just have to switch the channel because it's so sad. And unfortunately, on a happier note, I have to say Merry Christmas to everybody. It's a tough way to end it after just, those two losses. But Merry Christmas and happy and healthy holidays to everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Fode.
Thank you.
Mr. Messeri?
I also attended the meeting along with Mike at the Council on Aging, and it was interesting. I think that I'm glad to hear Mary's going to do more of them, because I think that a large number of the people that were there were representatives of various organizations and things. But what I found interesting was there was a lot of talk about the need for out-of-town transportation. And then there was an article in the transcript that I read after our meeting yesterday that is looking for, or letting everyone know that there's in-town transportation available. Evidently, it's underutilized. At least that's what I'm hearing. So I don't know whether this is an issue of policy where we've just said we don't provide out-of-town transportation at all, and we have vehicle hours available, or there's some other issue, but it's something that maybe should be looked at. Several of the more outspoken people there would like to have a second van that could take them to various places. I know that the Friends of the Council on Aging have run some trips, and there's somebody that has a van, or they hire someone for a van to take people outside. Maybe that could help. There was some question about how much we're spending for the MBTA, the fact that we're not getting service. So I think it's a good move. I think that we seriously have to give some thought to, we spend a tremendous amount of money on school, and we have a growing elderly population, and maybe it is time to start to think about adjusting our resources to provide better service or additional service to them. Maybe this should be a subject for the future. My condolences to the Hardeman family, and clearly I totally shocked at what went on in Connecticut, and it's extremely sad. I served on the school committee for a number of years, and back then we never even gave a thought of an issue like this. And today, we have security systems, and we continue to hear about these particular kinds of events, and it's very sad, especially this time of the year. And for that number of young children lose their lives because somebody went nuts is just it's just hard to take. And I'm sure that I'm just one of the entire nation associated with those kinds of feelings, but I'm glad you started the meeting off with a moment of silence and a prayer. I wish everybody a happy holiday, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Keep it safe. Fellow board members, it's been a pleasure working with you this past year, and looking forward to working with you as we approach 2013.
Thank you. Mr. Briscoe?
I'll just maybe add a couple things on to the senior visit. They mentioned a lot about Linfield. Actually, a lot of the seniors are using the Linfield resources. Because they have multiple vans, and they're offering a lot more trips. And so our seniors are now getting themselves over to the Linfield area and participating in those trips. And I think it would be, and I hope Mary wrote down some of the notes as well. But you're right, Bob. I think what you see here is we do have a growing senior population. It's It's happening every day, and I think as this board, we need to become a little more sensitive to it, and I think the transportation is something we have to address. Resources are tight, but, Linfield's down the street. I don't think there's anything wrong with us having some kind of communication with them to learn how they do it. There are grants out there. How we handle grants, and that discussion came up at the meeting. It was a really good question. Do we have a grant writer? Why does it seem like Linfield and Reading are getting a lot of grants for their seniors, and why is North Reading missing out? And I didn't have a good answer for them. I've always been a big fan of hiring a grant writer, but we all know the issue with a grant writer is a lot of the grants, you have to have some knowledge of what you're writing about, and you can't hire a grant writer that's knowledgeable in everything. It's just not possible. So I gave some thought to it, Greg, and I wasn't sure if there is some kind of grant writing training we can send our department heads to, because my personal opinion is, and it may be wrong, is that there's an opportunity to get some training for our department heads and put some of the responsibility on the department heads to go seek some of these grants. They're out there. That's free money, for lack of a better term, and I think it may be a worthy investment from the town's part to get some training.
Just on that,
Yeah,
I think
please.
there were some department heads that have, or at least in the past have, or may continue to do so. I know
Yep.
fire, police, we had
Yep.
a planner. A planner was very aggressive.
She was.
So I think there's some of that, and I can't speak, Greg, you'll be able to put up the other department heads, but I know that there are department heads that do go after various grants.
We agree.
Just to add in a little bit on the situation in Newtown, really just talking locally, I was very happy and pleased. I think Superintendent Willis did a great job coming right out of the gate with an email to all the parents, alert now, notification, just right early in the process, and then the day before the kids went back to school, another follow-up requesting with her. Chief Murphy, I believe, talked several times since the incident happened in Connecticut, and they think they did a great job this morning in showing a little more police presence at the school. I think was very comforting, and I want to thank them both for taking that action. They did a wonderful job communicating. I did reach out to Chief Murphy yesterday and asked him about our school safety a little bit. And the reason, we got into a discussion about the new high school and middle school, renovated middle school, and I asked him, what does he think of the design in regards to safety? And I did get a sense of frustration from him in that discussion that he hasn't been provided any information, and that he's been asking for it. And I think, we have a really good opportunity right here. We haven't even put a bucket in the ground to have our chief and his experts in his department to just be part of the discussion. Even the simplest things like you learned with this incident, a window next to a door, access to the school, maybe we have an opportunity not to build windows next to our access doors. We should make sure that every entrance and exit in this new school is designed and properly handled for safety for our students and for our staff. So I was going to ask Mr. Delaney if you wouldn't mind reaching out to the chief and maybe ask him to share some of his conversation that he had with me. I think you'll learn a lot from him, and then potentially, if you think it's worthwhile, bring it back to the secondary school building committee for some discussion. I did attend the wake tonight of firefighter Hardiman, and I was able to see his family and give him my condolences. The entire fire department was there. It was nice to see them all gathered around the family. I know they appreciate the sport, and they appreciate the support of the town, so my sympathies go out to the family, my prayers to them as well. Last thing I had is the senior circuit breaker credit. Greg, are you familiar with the senior circuit breaker credit? No?
I can't say I'm an expert at it.
No. It's probably something, I'd like to try to get some more information. I've been in discussion with Brad Jones on it. It's a great opportunity for our seniors here in the community. I'd like to get some information, maybe present at a future board meeting, maybe even hold some office hours, continue what Mr. Delaney has started last year. But there's a maximum credit up to $1,000 for our seniors. The eligible age is 65 and older, and I think we should, Mr. Jones already told me he would provide some information, and we should try to do our job to get that information out to the seniors. We did talk a little bit about it at the senior visit the other day up at the third meeting house. And I have some details on it, but I'm going to hold off on it until I get more information from Mr. Jones's office. And other than that, I just want to wish everybody on the board a joyous holiday season and a happy and prosperous new year, and everybody at home listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prisco. I'll just reiterate what's been said, concerning wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Board members, thank you for your cooperation throughout this calendar year. I look forward to working with you, Mr. Valiantonis, and your staff as we enter into 2013. And I just hope and pray that 2013 is a happy and safer year than 2012 was. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being the chairman.
You're welcome. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Greg, you want to put these on your office wall?